All right, we are live. Hey guys, Dr. Jason, and I just wanted to take a few minutes with you guys. I know I spoke to you last Friday and was talking about the seminar that I had coming up this last weekend. So this last weekend I spent a seminar. It was luckily here in Knoxville, and it was on autoimmune diseases or autoimmune issues. And it was put on by a kind of a functional medicine doc, and it has some really great has some great information in that, and I wanted to share with some of you guys some of the highlights and some of the things that I got from that seminar. But it was really kind of interesting because what they talked about was an autoimmune issue or an autoimmune condition is basically the natural response of your body to chronic inflammation or chronic infection. So if something is just inflamed all the time and your body is unable to get over it, or if you've got a low-level infection that the body is unable to beat, as its survival mechanism, as its protection, then it becomes autoimmune. It starts kind of attacking itself, which is what the body does to protect itself from the whole thing being destroyed and you not living anymore. And so it was then all about how do you then find out or treat chronic inflammation or chronic infection. And so one of the things that was kind of interesting to me, well, I mean, I knew this, but one of the main things in our lives that cause chronic inflammation, believe it or not, are your vaccines. And in fact, it was interesting because at the end of every segment of the seminar, the guy would put up a slide and say, his recommendations and summarize, and it was always no vaccines for anyone ever. No vaccines for anyone ever. And so the reason being for that is because I don't know if you guys know how vaccines work, but a lot of times what they do is say they put the bug in the vaccine, and if it was just the bug and then they injected that into your bloodstream, a lot of times I find that it doesn't spark your immune response. You don't get what they're looking for. And so in essence, they need something to tick your immune system off. They need something to stir the pot, to get it all riled up. And so they use what's called an adjuvant. And an adjuvant is basically an irritant to your immune system or to your immune response that your body has to respond to. And so most of the time it's aluminum. You'll hear what's called aluminum adjuvant is what they put in vaccines. And so what that aluminum adjuvant does is it creates that chronic irritation. And so that chronic irritation over time, if you get a flu shot every year, or our kids, that's the thing is, it's really kind of scary. And do your research on this. Don't take my word for it. But there's been no studies looking at the cumulative effects of aluminum adjuvant that are in vaccines. And so, a child that is born today, by the time they're in first grade, there's like 72 mandated shots. That is a ton of shots, and that is a ton of aluminum. They can say that there's no link between vaccines and autism, things of that nature. But really, a lot of the studies that they use, especially like on the MMR, they basically say in the conclusion is that they can't say that it does or that it does not cause autism. And so they use that and say, well, it says that it does not. But it also doesn't say that it does. It's kind of crazy the logic that they use. But it was interesting because, he talked about in this conference that, the sickest kids are the ones that are fully vaccinated and the ones that follow government guidelines. 1 in 6 Americans has an autoimmune condition or autoimmune disease. So one of the quotes he says, if you're not weird, you're screwed. And so you've got to think differently and you've got to act differently if you want something different. The standard American is not healthy. We've got 1 in 6 have a chronic disease. From the CDC, they tell us 6 in 10 Americans have a chronic disease. 4 in 10 have at least 2. 1 in 6 have an autoimmune disease. Obesity is going up every year. Heart disease is going up. All of these things, we're not on the right path, and it's because of the people that we've been listening to. And so you gotta go swim against the stream, right? I mean, you've got to make different choices, and that's partly my daughter and my grandson. I'm so proud of the way that they're doing. I mean, she's had his food allergies tested, and it's funny because I'm telling her, he's like, you don't realize how much different you're raising your kid than what most people do. And she's like, oh no, I know, I get it, and it's tough, and I know it's tough, but that's the thing, is what we want at our office is to model it for you. We want to be able to do it so that we can teach it and we can walk it and we can show it to you, because we all need help with this, and we want to be here to help lead you guys and guide you to be in a healthier you, a better you. And so we want to have those resources. And so, we're in this too. I'm not going home and eating Doritos and a bunch of junk. We're going to have a gluten-free dinner, and try to avoid the sugar and the processed foods and all that other kind of stuff, and really watch how we eat so that we can help you guys with that. But one of the things that's important is there's a lot of people trying to take our freedoms away, especially when it comes to vaccines. There's politicians that want to mandate vaccines for everybody, despite all of the evidence of so many kids and so many people that get injured by a vaccine every year. I mean, just think with the COVID. I mean, they said that, it's like 99.9, was it 99.93%? Anyway, it's like, the death rate of it is minuscule. So do we really need a vaccine for something that's virtually no risk to us at all? But say the politicians come along and decide they mandate that you've got to have that. And so one of the things, I'm not going to tell you guys how to vote, but I want you to keep two things in mind. Always vote with your health freedom of choice in mind, because there may be things that you don't have a problem. You may not have a problem with vaccines, and you may think that's a great idea. But what's going to happen down the road when they decide there is something that you don't like? If you've gone along with it that whole time, again, we're screwed. And so you've got to make sure that you stand up and you fight for freedom of choice, your health freedom of choice, and also your freedom of speech. I've been talking about vaccines. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if this video gets censored. And I've had other videos censored. And there's a lot of things. Facebook is very pro-vaccine, and they tend to shut things down. And Bill Gates is very pro. They want everybody vaccinated. And so there's a whole agenda out there. And so you need to be able to you need to have freedom of speech, and you need to be able to hear different views and different opinions, because that's what makes this country great. And so no matter whether you're right, left, or anything in between, be sure to stand up for health freedom of choice and your freedom of speech. That's very important. Another thing I want to talk about was zinc, and I thought this was really cool. So zinc, let me tell you a little bit about zinc. Zinc is super important. It's important for sexual and reproductive function. It's important for guys for testosterone production. It's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant. It really gives your immune system a lot of support. It's part of your eye health. It affects aging, your skin health, muscle repair. But one of the things that they talked about in this workshop is that when you have an infection, your body needs zinc to help fight the infection. And this was really cool. So what they said was, in essence, there was a test that they had that, I don't know if it was zinc that you put in your mouth, but it was to see if you were deficient or not in zinc. And so you would put this in your mouth, and if you had plenty of zinc in your system, if you were sufficient in your zinc, then it would taste metallic or have a bad taste to it. But if you were deficient, you wouldn't taste anything at all, or it'd be really delayed. And so I thought that was really interesting, because they talked about how when you have an infection, your body uses a lot of zinc and you lose your sense of taste. So what's the first sign of COVID? Is people losing their sense of taste. So their body's fighting infection, they're becoming deficient in zinc, and they lose their sense of taste. What was one of the main treatments for COVID was the hydroxychloroquine and zinc. And so your body needs zinc. Zinc is super important. And so I'm going to make sure that we get the little sample things where you can do the taste test to see if you need zinc or not. I mean, that's really important. But the other thing is, when you take supplements, you want to make sure that they are from whole food sources. You don't want synthetic stuff. You don't want isolated stuff. That's not the way your body works. So you want it to always come from whole food sources. And that's what I love about Wellness Way. We actually have a Wellness Zinc, and it comes from oysters. Oysters is one of the highest foods with zinc content in them. And so our zinc is basically made from oysters. And that's how you want to get that. So really cool stuff. One last note is, again, this guy was a functional medicine doc. And it was a lot of really good information, but about half of the seminar was all, if they've got autoimmune, here's your protocol for this. Oh, they've got stomach problems, here's your protocol for that. Oh, they've got liver problems, here's your protocol for that. Here's your spleen protocol, here's your prostate protocol, here's your heart protocol, here's your high blood pressure protocol. And it was just protocol after protocol after protocol. And this is where I love the Wellness Way, because you know what? We don't have any protocols. And because you are an individual, there is nobody else like you. And so if somebody is having issues, then the role of the doc is to find out what your triggers are. That's the thing, is if you have an autoimmune condition, there's a reason why. If you have high blood pressure, there's a reason why. If you have heartburn, there's a reason why. And instead of just throwing a blanket protocol at you, let's find out why. And that's what Wellness Way is all about. That's our whole motto, is we don't guess, we test. And so that we can find out your why and help you to walk in the path of wellness and to help to restore your health. Hey, Amber, it's good to see you on here. But anyway, so that was my weekend. That was my seminar. That was the highlights of that stuff. I wanted to share that with you guys. I want to let you know, I think I put a link in here, but we are in the office next Tuesday night, not tomorrow, but on the 20th. We are doing a thyroid workshop. So if somebody is hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, Graves, Hashimoto's, if they're autoimmune, thyroid is one of the number one autoimmune issues. If you are struggling to lose weight, if you're taking Synthroid or levothyroxine, if you want to try to get off of that stuff, if you just want to hear a different approach, we'd love to have you come join us. It is the 20th at 6 o'clock. I put the link in the thing. It is on Eventbrite. If you know somebody that's having some issues, hey, like and share this video with them. Let them know that they need to come hear this. Good news, we're not selling anything. There's nothing they can buy. We just like this video, I just want to help educate you guys and walk on that journey with you guys. So thanks for being on here, and we'll talk to you soon. And we'll again, I'll go live later this week and give you some more great information. So appreciate you being on. We'll see you later.